What is up, guys, and welcome back to our Boston Bruins franchise mode series here at Dreams Gaming. In the last video, we were knocked out of the playoffs, and we saw Daniel Sedin and Zdeno Chara retire. So yeah, we were knocked out in the second round by the Montreal Toilet Seats. The Habs, led by Kevin Shattenkirk, knocked us out, unfortunately. And they went on to the Stanley Cup final, and they lost to the Minnesota Wild in 6 games. So at least they didn't win. Um, yeah, so that was unfortunate. Pissed me off that they beat us, especially Kevin Shattenkirk. We really wanted to get back at him for spurning us at free agency last year because we weren't ready to win now, is what he said. But clearly we were. We made it to the second round of the playoffs, and we lost to the Minnesota Wild. Fuck, we lost to the Montreal Canadiens in 6. And the Minnesota Wild won the Stanley Cup. So yeah, in this video, I would like to get up to the next season so we can see some of our younger guys' progressions and see if we need to make any moves to free up a roster spot for a guy. So we're gonna head right into the draft, and a huge need that we have is defensemen. We have I'll go into it here and offer trade. We have like Torrey Krug at an 85. Who's we're paying quite a bit just to be an 85. And then we have a bunch of guys at 83 overall. So we have essentially a weak top 4 defensemen and then 4 third pairing guys. Or 3. We got McAvoy, Carlo, and Marchenko at 83 overall. Krug at 85. Morrow at 81. O'Gara and Grizzlick at 80. Shabbat might jump in the transition to the next season, might jump to like an 82 if we're lucky and be a third pairing guy for us. And then we got Liljegren down here, who we still haven't signed yet. He's still only a 72 overall. We don't look. I'm not gonna bank on him being NHL ready next season. So we really have these guys up here at the top. Hopefully McAvoy and Carlo can make a jump in overall and be a solid first and second pairing on the right side. But at this point, really, who knows? So I guess the main need for us is a top line left-handed defenseman because Krug is that second line guy. The only problem with trying to trade for a top pairing defenseman is that the trade value is so incredibly high. If they're even like an 87, they're going to be over half a bar trade value. It doesn't really matter what their age is. And I've gone through the teams and I've looked at teams. Wow, whoa! Roberts went first overall as a high top 6. Is there no elites in this draft, or what? I've gone through and looked at the teams that wanted our first round pick because that's our first round pick is pretty much the best, like the most trade value in an asset that we have that I'm willing to move right now. Just because it's going to be such a low draft pick, and the guy we get in return for that pick is not going to be fantastic. But if we try to trade that pick, we can probably get something better. And only a couple teams wanted our first round pick, and each of those teams only had one defenseman that I wanted to trade for. But they're like insane trade value, like Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Aaron Ekblad. When you're trying to trade for those guys, especially if the team does not want to trade them away, they're pretty much untouchable, and it would take quite a bit to acquire them. I tried for Aaron Ekblad, I tried to send them 2 firsts and Tyler Johnson, and they still said that it was woefully insufficient trade value. So it's going to be really hard to try to trade for a top 2 defenseman. I'm really going to hope that we get one that falls to us in free agency. And if there's no guy there in free agency, I might try to make a trade then. But looking at this draft, looks like we have Rasmus Dahlin as a medium elite, but he's not going to be a very high overall right off the bat as a left-handed defenseman. Ryan Merkley looks to be high top 6, and he's also pretty low. And then Ty Smith looks to be high top 4. But all those guys are pretty low overalls. Are going to be pretty low overalls. None of them are going to help us win any time in the next couple of years. And Joe Veleno looks to be medium elite. Same situation for him though. So no one really at the top end of this draft looks to be NHL ready anytime soon. And if we're looking at our pick, I forget what pick number it's going to be, but it's probably going to be in the high teens, low 20s. So probably something around here on the screen. And none of these guys are even going to be um, any good at all, really. I don't really know. I don't really know a nice way to put it. So what we're going to try to do is trade this first round draft pick, and I don't have any trade in mind. We're going to go ahead and sim to our pick, because why not? I'm not going to trade up in this draft. I don't have any trade in mind, so I'm going to freelance it here. Rodrigo would have been a decent pick. He's with a high fringe starter potential. And Dolan fell all the way to 6. Valeno went at 5. Okay, so a lot of high potentials in the second year draft, and that's what it usually is. So our pick is 19. Let's see what's out there at 19. I doubt it's going to look pretty at all. 19 is much better in the later drafts when you get into all created players. But in this second year draft, the second year draft is like my least favorite. It's just, I don't know. It just seems weird, and it doesn't seem like there's anybody with high overalls. So nothing looks fantastic. We don't have any of these guys scouted out really. Just a bunch of medium potentials here. We got Järvinen, maybe. That's how he pronounces his Finnish name, Petri Järvinen. He looks to be decent. He's probably low 70s overall. Based on this, maybe high 60s, but nothing. He's probably a medium top 6, so nothing spectacular there. Medium top 6 defenseman. And you just don't really want to take a shot on these guys. So this low AHL top 6, probably medium bottom 6, high top 9. So he's probably a medium top 6 guy. Medium top 6 forward potential guy, but we don't have any information on him. We don't know what his attributes are going to be like. So we're going to try to trade away this pick, as I've spent like 2 minutes. We're going to go ahead and call a timeout. We're going to need it. Actually, just go ahead and call it 2. Who knows? So we're going to try to trade this first round pick and just get any sort of value out of it. I need some water there, because who knows how long finding a trade is going to take. As my throat made just the weirdest noise, and I hope that didn't pick up on the mic, but knowing how things go, it probably did. And I might be willing to throw in those second round picks this year as well, since we don't want to waste any sort of time trying to retool and rebuild and contend in the coming years, just due to our aging forward core. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw them in right now. So like I said, Arizona here, they had Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and I'm gonna show you guys just his trade value is absolutely through the roof here. 92 overall, and I'm gonna throw in Tyler Johnson in this deal as well. I did not mean to do that. So yeah, a first, 2 seconds, and Tyler Johnson. We're gonna have the advantage in trade value. Actually, they don't even want Tyler Johnson. I never looked at this with the Coyotes, so they only want defensemen back. We are not going to do that whatsoever. But I will go to Florida. As I keep pressing the wrong buttons, and I'm starting my way through everything. But you guys are used to it by now. We will go to Florida, and I will show you what it looked like with Aaron Ekblad and trying to trade for him. So we're giving them all pieces that they want in return. But throw Aaron Ekblad in there. I hope I selected him. I believe I did. Looked kind of funny. Okay, so there we go. The first 2 seconds and Tyler Johnson, and we are going to watch Florida tell us that that is woefully insufficient in value. And if it goes through, I will be surprised in a positive manner. But yeah, just isn't where it needs to be at all compared to what you are asking us to give up or something like that. But as you can see by those trade bars, ours is higher. So it's really, when you get a team and you're trying to trade for somebody that the other team doesn't want to trade away, it just takes a lot more to get that trade done. And one guy I'd like to trade but I can't is Frank Vetrano, because he's on an expiring deal. He's got 1 year left. So we might look to trade him um, at the start of the new season, I guess, because we can't, due to morale purposes, trade him as soon as we re-sign him. And just looking at all our skaters, we're not in the best of spots. I mean, we could trade somebody like DeBrusque, who has pretty good value, or maybe even JFK, who has pretty good value, but I just don't know. I just don't know. It'd be nice to see our player progressions before we were in this situation. Um, I guess I could potentially try to move David Backus. Let's just see what teams want David Backus for real quick, and we'll see if they want our first round pick. I doubt a team would want David Backus and a first round pick, but let's see if anyone wants Backus. As the Wild and Habs do, but they have salary cap problems over there. Yeah, the two teams that were in the Stanley Cup final. The Winnipeg Jets are interested in David Backus. What do they have? So they got Dustin Byfuglien, but he's super old. Jacob Trouba, potentially. That's somebody I might consider. He is right-handed, which kind of sucks. We're looking for probably a left-handed defenseman, but we will keep that in mind. What's his contract look like? He's got $3 million just for this year, so he might fall to free agency. But the Jets might re-sign him. I wish in this game it could factor in trade values that a player was on the last year of their deal. So you're not gonna get a half a bar of trade value out of a guy who's expiring. You're gonna trade their rights, which are worth a lot less than if that player was on contract. So I'm not 100% sure about that situation. We will continue to look elsewhere. The Ducks. Now they have quite a few defensemen in real life, so they might still have some left. And Cam Fowler here is an option, or Elias Lindholm. Cam Fowler, I believe, is right-handed. So, no, he's left-handed. I just get these handednesses wrong so much. So Cam Fowler, 87 overall, left-handed defenseman, still pretty young. He is also on an expiring deal, but he's got pretty good stats, and he is a guy I would definitely consider picking up, but at the same time, he might fall to free agency. So we might just be wasting all of our assets there. But Hampus Lindholm, left-handed, 86 overall, 24, low elite potential, 5 years left on his deal. So he's got like a Torrey Krug type deal there. But he's better than Torrey Krug already, and he still has a couple years that he could grow. And looking at his offensive stats, they're pretty damn good for a defenseman, and then his defensive stats are about average. So you can throw him on the power play, but probably not the penalty kill. So Hampus Lindholm from the Ducks is a guy we will consider. We could throw them Backus and get more in return. So let's see if anyone else wants Backus. The Blackhawks do. As I burp, I for some reason, man, I just get the burps when I start recording these videos. They don't normally happen all the time, but just when I'm recording, it's weird, and I wish it would stop. So the Blackhawks, they have a bunch of aging defensemen. So nothing we really would want from them. Nobody that we can really throw into our lineup and win now, unless we're trading for one of these guys that's like super old. Maybe Hjalmarsson, I guess. Only $4 million on his deal. How do the Blackhawks have fucking Nicholas Hjalmarsson for $4 million? That's insane. Yeah, look at his defensive stats. They're all 90. He is left-handed, so we could throw him up there on the first line with Charlie McAvoy. 31 doesn't excite me, but we're trading a 34-year-old David Backus to get Hjalmarsson. So Hjalmarsson's my new favorite, I think, just due to his contract. It's much better than Hampus Lindholm's, but we'll keep looking. We will keep looking. So we'll just check out what the Wild and the Habs have to offer. They might have a guy that is on contract for more than David Backus. Brodin. Look at Jonas Brodin. Might be Jonas, but I believe it is Jonas. He's from Sweden. Could be Jonas. Could be Jonas. I don't know. But he has pretty damn good defensive stats, and he has fantastic passing skill or attribute. But look at those points, man. How's he not putting up points? He's got pretty good offensive stats. Listed as a two-way defender. I don't know. Maybe he was in a bad situation. Not sure, but he's a guy to consider. What's his contract look like? 4 years at four. That's a really good contract. My goodness, as I smack my headset. Hope I didn't hear that. For an 89 overall, $4 million for 4 years. That's insane. So Brodeen is probably my new favorite, and he's left-handed too. So that would be a good fit for us. Matt Dumba, not as much. He's right-handed. He would fit right in with, or he'd be competing with McAvoy and Carlo for a roster spot. So we're gonna keep moving on to other teams, see what they have, see if they want Backus. Oh yeah, the Habs, duh. Um, so let's see what they have. They should have Shea Weber and fucking Shattenkirk, that piece of shit. And they got Nico Hischier. How'd they get Hischier? Were they terrible last year too, or did he fall to them? They had the second pick. I probably made a remark about that in in that draft video, but oh well. They had the second pick, and then they go to the fucking Stanley Cup final because Kevin Shattenkirk spurned us to go to a team that had the second overall pick because he wanted to win now. Whatever. I mean, I guess they did that. So good for him, man. I mean, I'm glad for him. Glad he went to the finals, but you know, fuck him at the end of the day. I just have like I'm just gonna rage on Kevin Shattenkirk and the Habs throughout this entire franchise mode series, and it just sucks that he went to our exact arch rival. The team that I would have picked absolutely last is what to see him go to. I mean, I guess you could argue that um, it's nice to see him go to a rival because we get to play him so many times. But I'm not about that life. I see the risk side more than the potential reward side of that. So let's see if we can get Nicholas Hjalmarsson from the Blackhawks. No. I said Brodeen from the Wild. Yeah, Brodeen. Brodeen had a crazy contract. Better than Hjalmarsson already in overall. So we'll try to get Brodeen. He would be an absolute huge pickup for us on the left-handed defenseman. But like I said earlier, so we might have to retain some salary. Let's just see what they have. We can probably get a cheap guy, or a cheap trade value guy that has maybe a couple $1 million left on his contract, and it's expiring. Koivu, nope, that's a lot of trade value. Down here we see, nope, Dumba and Zucker can't do that. I guess White and Chris Stewart, are they going to count against the cap? Let's find out. Oh man, so suspenseful. Nope, still says they'd be over the league, the league maximum salary cap. That's weird, because they're not. They had the yellow salary cap bar over there. Oh well. I mean, I'll take on as many guys as it takes, because we just simply do not have to sign them in free agency. As long as they have that, like minimal trade value. Anybody down here? No, there's not. So, I guess we could retain a little bit of salary from Mike Fisher. Mike Fisher right here might be an option. 2 million or 2.9 million, 2 years. The only problem with trying to take on that contract is it hurts us in free agency. A 2.9 million is not the best, but I might try to see if I can dump him off really quickly to somebody else for some minimal draft picks, I guess. So let's see what the Wild want. Jesus, I'm almost 20 minutes into this video, and I have done absolutely nothing except for simulate the first 17 picks of this draft. So if you're still hanging around with no action, I salute you. I think we're going to have to go to draft picks, because none of these draft picks are going to help us anytime soon. So we will just... Oh, shit, they don't want draft picks. Alright. Probably going to be tough to get a deal done. But let's see. So, we picked up those 3 left wingers last season in Kyle Connor, Mikko Rantanen, and Pavel Zacha. All of them are young, and all of them played bottom 6 roles for us. How did they do exactly? I think Kyle Connor might be a guy we look into trading away. In the playoffs, Rantanen had 5 goals. That's right. Cal Connor had 2 points and was a -3. Zaka with 1 point was a -4. So I guess Cal Connor would be the first guy we look to trade. Yeah, Zaka, 20-point guy so far in the NHL. It would take him growing quite a bit for him to be useful. But look at Rantanen putting up nearly averaging 40 points these last 2 seasons, and Cal Connor only put up 20 points and was a -9. So we'll throw Cal Connor into this deal. Hopefully he's not expiring contract. Okay, he's got 2 years left, so that works. We can throw him in there, and I'll just see what they say. I just unselected him. That was so stupid. Oh, these screens are so slow. Jesus. Wow, these screens are really slow. I'm trying to give NHL a second to potentially catch up. I just don't want this to lag out. I guess maybe I'd probably be fine with it if the game froze up on me. I could restart this video with a more driven purpose to go straight to our pick and straight to trying to make this trade with the Wild. So we'll see if that goes through. Your offer is woefully insufficient. So we're just going to try to tack on some draft picks. Maybe, how would we feel about Backus and a first for Brodin? Backus and a first for Brodin. Sometimes when I play, when I do these Bruins franchise modes, players usually regress around age 35, but Backus I've seen regress before 35, and he's rapidly approaching 35. I believe he's 34 right now in this franchise mode, so he's 34. I mean, obviously he'd be a fantastic asset for us to keep, probably as a third line center, even if he fell down to like an 87 or an 86. But I feel like we are just defense is a much bigger need of ours, as I stumble over my sentences over and over again. I feel like defense is a much bigger need for us right now than offense, because Backus there would be either like a second line right winger, which we have Ho-Sang for, or like a third line center, which we have Tyler Johnson for. So he's easily replaceable. It's much easier, probably going to be much easier to sign a third line forward to replace him than it would be to sign a number 1 defenseman. So I'm fine with trading Backus, I guess. I kind of talked myself into that. We were originally looking to trade Tyler Johnson just due to his contract, but his trade value is really low. And I believe his 86 is just from morale being a little bit low, because when we signed him, he was an 87. You've met our block needs well enough, but the value you have on the table is too far off. So let's try to throw in our second round pick. That would leave us with New Jersey's second round pick. And if we do try to trade them anybody, it can't be anybody that counts against their salary cap, because we are pushing that as is. So the Devils, let's see if they will take this. Trade accepted. Okay, Jonas Brodin, welcome to the Boston Bruins. That was a blockbuster right there. We got rid of Backus, a first and a second for Brodin. But Brodin, 89 overall, age 24. He's on a super good contract for us. Only $4 million. He's signed for the next 3 seasons that we will simulate. His contract's listed as 4, but as we know, the 1 doesn't count. So for morale, he went down a little bit to an 88 overall, but I feel like that's just like anxiety with the new team, is what that says. Yeah, has lost morale for having anxiety with his new team. That should go away by the time we get into next season, and hopefully we can see his trade value skyrocket and his overall number skyrocket. He should be a pretty good defenseman for us to pair with Charlie McAvoy, as the timer is still going for our pick, even though we don't even have our pick anymore. So our defense is looking a shit ton better now, boys. Our top pairing is probably going to be Brodin and McAvoy. Second pairing probably Krug and Carlo. So the real strength of our defensive core is going to depend on the growth of McAvoy and Carlo. And that timer is giving me anxiety, so I'm going to go back to the draft screen. So now we just need to, looking into next season, we need to shore up our offense a little bit. I feel like we're pretty good defensively, and obviously with Tuukka Rask in net, we are fine goalie-wise. So In free agency, we will look to sign a forward, probably a top 6 guy, if there's any there that fit what we're looking for. I don't even want to draft anymore. I just want to get to next season right now and play with my shiny new Brodin toy. So Martin Fairvari, maybe, I don't know. He looks like he's from Slovakia. Played in the SHL. Looks like he's really far away from being NHL ready. Valeri Miknov. I feel like at this point we're just going to be throwing a dart. DJ Jerome. D hyphen J-A-Y. DJ Jerome. He is instantly a front runner for this draft pick. Anderson McDonald. He's listed as a high AHL extra forward. I really hope his potential isn't going to be high AHL bottom 6. But I really want a guy named DJ Jerome. Like, I don't know, man. This second round pick looks like it's going to suck. And if I was doing this series off screen and just doing it for my own personal fun, I would definitely trade this second round pick and try to harvest any value that it potentially has. Because as soon as we make this pick, the guy we pick is not going to have any value whatsoever. But DJ Jerome, from Canada, played for the Prince Albert Raiders. He's going to have really shitty potential. He's going to be a really shitty overall. But welcome to the Boston Bruins, DJ Jerome. High AHL top 6, so it could be worse. Could be worse. I thought he might be bottom 6. We're going to take a look at DJ Jerome, the newest member of the Boston Bruins. Oh, I just wasted that draft pick, but I don't even care. Jerome right there, yep. Pretty bad value. 54 overall at age 18. If he ever sees NHL time, it will be in like 4 or 5 years. But the good news is I get to say DJ Jerome every now and then. D-J. Alright, whatever. We don't have a third round pick, so we're headed to the fourth round pick. Hashtag wild pickups and resources today along with Bacchus. And Brodin along with other goods have been picked up by the Bruins. Hashtag good luck. Hashtag new team. Oh man. I hope I didn't say when I traded for Brodin, I hope I didn't say welcome to the St. Louis Blues. I really hope I didn't say that. So Omark down here, exact bottom 6. He looks to be probably high 60s overall. I don't know. Nothing down here. I mean, when it gets to these later rounds in the first couple years drafts, like they make me want to not play this game anymore. As Weidman, apparently Duke Weidman, from Italy. Duke Weidman is the most Italian name I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, EA enjoys making names that make no sense for their nationalities, like a Latvian here named Renars Krastenbergs. I have no idea how Latvian that name is, but they normally get Sweden and Finland right, and they get typically the Russian and the super Eastern European right. But when it comes to like countries like Austria or Germany or Italy, just these countries that aren't super big into hockey, and whatever the fuck flag this is, Randy Sampson, is probably not a typical name from that country. So when you get like to the non-hockey countries, EA just says fuck it and just gives them random names. I wanted to see another name to make my point, but couldn't find it other than Randy Sampson from this fucking country. You know what? This video is already 30 minutes long, and it's gonna be much longer because we're gonna do free agency too. I'm gonna look up what this fucking flag is. I don't even know what to Google. I'm just gonna Google white, blue, and red flags. Just white, blue, and red flags. And there are quite a bit of these. Jeez. Okay. I don't see anything that looks like it. There's North Korea. That's not it. Got Russia, Czech Republic, France. Oh, there it is. There it is. Slovenia. Okay, Slovenia. That's where Anze Kopitar's from. I don't think I've ever seen that flag before. Wow, I'm usually really good with flags, but that flag did not ring any bells whatsoever. So Randy Sampson is clearly not a Slovenian name. Alright, whatever. I'm making this video way too long. We're just probably going to pick Per Omark here, just because he's the best bet in terms of... Hartikainen's not bad, actually. Oh. We might pick Hartikainen. Pasi Hartikainen. Hartikainen. Not Hartikainen. He played for Porn Ass out of Liga. Yeah, we're gonna pick Hartikainen. He's probably gonna be medium 7th D, but he had pretty good stats, look like. Pretty good attributes, low 7th D, geez. So hopefully he's at least in the 70s overall. We're gonna check really quick. Yeah, I don't know. Where's he at? So he's way down here. He's got no value whatsoever. Hartikainen, 62 overall. Jeez, so I was completely wrong about his overall. Man, his attributes look like he would be at least high 60s. But I guess it's just his defensive awareness was really low. Only a 72. Oh well. If I'd have picked Per Omark, he would have probably been low bottom 6. I'm gonna check real quick. And I also forgot to check what we'd have been drafting at 18 overall. So I'm gonna go look at that. As Omark was on no one's radar. There we go. Medium bottom 6 went to the Dallas Stars. So in the first round, pick 18. Who was taken? Pick 19. So McLeod went to the Wild. As medium top 6. Zubov, high bottom 6 of the Canucks. Medium top 6, top 9, top 6, top 6D. High AHL, low top 6D. My goodness, as the Predators were getting impatient and made a pick. Oh well, alright, so nothing fantastic there. We would have had McLeod as a medium top 6 forward, was probably the guy I would have picked. But we turned that into Jonas Brodin. Obviously we sent out Backus, but we're going to look to try to sign somebody that can fill in Backus's role. So looking here, we're not going to find anybody better than AHL potential at all. This guy, maybe he'll be a bottom 6 forward, but other than him, man, there's just nobody left. There is just nobody left. So all of these high AHL bottom 6 guys are going to end up with AHL top 6 potential. Maybe this Pontus Eklof guy ends up being bottom 6, but nothing I would really bet on. And Jan Hamalainen with 3 A's that have accents on them that I don't know what that accent means. Here's a defenseman from Canada, Hoffenmeyer, as I picked the wrong guy. Noel Hoffenmeyer. He's probably 7th D potential, but there's just nothing there, man. There's just nothing there in these late rounds. So I'm just gonna pick anybody that I see that I like. Oliver Horsell, maybe, I don't know. Jonathan Rodenshow. And there's just no way of knowing. Just no way of knowing. So I'm gonna go with the guy that has whore in his name. Nope, not Singer. We're picking Horsell. And we are moving on. I'm tempted to just let the let the AI make these next picks, but oh, we got another 5th round pick. I don't want this 5th round pick. So we're gonna pick the other guy. Whatever his name was. I believe it was Rodenshow. We're gonna pick the forward. Okay, so Colin. Or is it Colleen, since he's Swedish? We're going to call it Marcus Colleen. We're going to pick him. He's got really good slap shot power for this late round of a pick, so whatever. Marcus Colleen, welcome to the Bruins. Another AHL, medium AHL top 6 guy. Man, these late round picks are absolutely worthless this season. So if I was doing this franchise mode off screen, I'd be picking all goalies with these picks, just to maximize the trade value that I get from these selections. Because these, you can see these skaters just have no value whatsoever. So we're getting all Canadian guys here. We're just gonna pick the guy with the highest potential. Bunch of guys with high AHL bottom 6. Anybody with medium bottom 6? Yep, couple here. Berzan, Timmins, and Laferriere. No idea which one of those is right. Medium AHL fringe goalie would probably be my pick. Off screen, but we're not doing that. We're gonna pick one of these three guys here. Either Berzan, Timmins, or Laferriere. I really hope his name is not like Laferriere. I would just look stupid if that was the case. So 18, 17 years old. Don't really like the power forward tag. Sometimes those guys, when they're in like their medium 70s, they want to play on the fourth line, and you obviously can't play a medium 70s guy on the fourth line. So they kind of get upset with you sometimes. We might just pick Luc Berzan. I could go through every single one of these guys, but I do not want to. So Luc Berzan, you're getting selected by the Boston Bruins, as this draft has gotten old quickly. 36 minutes into this video, we have done hardly anything other than trade for Jonas Brodin. Obviously a huge pickup for us. So we drafted 5 guys. DJ Jerome was the highlight selection from our draft. So that was the NHL draft. Over our underwhelming draft picks for us, but we did trade away our first 2 selections to get Jonas Brodin back. So I'm going to take a look at some of our top end expiring contracts, and then I'm going to sign and make all decisions on the lower end guys off screen, just to try to shorten this video as much as possible, because I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk right now. So we only got like one big time guy here, big time in air quotes, in Alexei Marchenko. We have 13 mil cap space. So Hudobin wants about $1 million. Do we have a viable backup option? So we could hope that one of Rusu and Vladar grows enough to be a backup for Rask, or we could spend $1 million plus on Hudobin. Not sure what I'm gonna do in that respect just yet. So back to all skaters. Marchenko wants $3 million. Let's take a look at our defenseman as it stands right now. So Marchenko is definitely going to be a third pairing option for us. And I feel like with him being a third pairing option, we don't want to spend $3 million on him when I can get something like Morrow and Grzelcyk or Morrow and O'Gara for like two-way deals, so less than $1 million apiece. I'm probably just going to send Marchenko a qualifying offer and see if anyone sends us an offer and we can get draft picks back, or I might trade him. But I do not see a future with Alexei Marchenko on this team, just due to how much he's asking for. He is a high top 6D, and he still has some potential left, so he could grow a couple overall points. But I don't want to bank on that. I don't want to pay him $3 million for that purpose. But I guess no, there's no way. There's no way. I want to save that money for a potential big time signing in free agency for our forward core. So we're just going to send him a qualifying offer, and that's pretty much well. There's Riley Nash, and we do want Nash back. It looks like we're gonna be scraping together a bottom 6, probably scraping together a fourth line. So Riley Nash for less than $1 million. He's a pretty good fourth line guy. As his player card took forever to load there. He's got decent offensive stats, decent defensive stats. Wasn't horrific for us last year, only a -5. Very consistent. Loves putting up 22 points. Loves putting up 22 points. So he's not a terrible fourth line for us. Not a terrible fourth liner for us. And we can get him on a two-way deal. I'll probably crank that down to 0.9 just for the hell of it. Chris Stewart, picked him up in a throwaway. Picked him up as a throwaway in that last deal to get Brodin. I do not want to sign him. I don't think as he has played a shit ton of seasons. I don't think that his skill set is what we're looking for. He'd be a fourth line right winger for us, and we can probably put somebody younger in that role to grow. So we'll be releasing Chris Stewart, and then Frankie Vetrano. After Vetrano, I'll do the rest off screen. He does not want a two-way deal. Come on, Frankie. Seriously? Let's look at his attributes. 3-star defense, super low 80s there, and he doesn't even have good offensive stats. Like mid to low 80s in the offensive stat categories. In the AHL, he did put up nearly a point a game, but I don't see that translated to the NHL very well. But we do want to sign him. We do want to hold on to him because he does have a little bit of trade value. So we'll sign him for $0.9 million alongside Riley Nash. So I'll be right back. Going to sign everyone else here, or at least make decisions on everyone else here, and I will show you guys any surprising or interesting news from that. Alright guys, we are back, and just to go down the list really quickly, we got Grzelcyk and O'Gara both on two-way deals. We offered them both two-way deals. Grzelcyk for 2 years, O'Gara for 1. And the thing about O'Gara is if you crank that deal up to a second year, what you saw was like $2 million for 2 years. So we might see a bit of growth from him for this first year. Zarnik Acciari, Bleed, Cave, we all just gave 1 year RFA deals, maybe 2 for somebody like Bleed. But we are going to sign Timothy Liljegren this year. So our first round pick from last season. If you'll remember, I was pissed off how he fell to 8th from 6th, but we still got a super top-notch guy like Timothy Liljegren. And what's fantastic about Liljegren that I've seen in pretty much every sim that I've had him in is he is absolutely outstanding offensively. He will put up just a massive number of points, mostly assists because he, if you can see already, he has an 85 passing category and an 81 offensive awareness as a 72 overall. So imagine what those numbers are going to look like when he's like an 80, like even low 80s. Imagine what those are going to. Those are probably going to be in the 90s. But if you look at his shot, it's 2 stars, so he doesn't score very much, but that's okay. Defensive awareness already at 78. So Liljegren looks to be a huge pickup for us, and I decided to release Anton Khudobin into the wild. I figure if we need that backup defenseman, if neither Rusu nor Vladar end up being like an 80 overall, we can probably sign one after we see our player progressions next season, and he won't cost us much more than Khudobin did. The only bad thing about that is we did have a couple players that lost a little bit of morale for me releasing Khudobin, but that's okay. So we're gonna get into seeing what these guys say. Hopefully they all accept, and I can get to move on quickly to the real free agency instead of just the re-sign phase. Okay. Alright. Okay. Looks like everybody signed except for Marchenko, which is to be expected. He does have that qualifying offer, and he was asking from us $3 million. So hopefully I think that puts him at least in that second round pick range for compensation for losing that guy in free agency. So if anyone sends him an offer, we can get a second round pick in return for Alexei Marchenko. And I'm actually going to go in and look at his trade value compared to a second round pick, just to be sure that that is super good for us. So yeah, if he falls anywhere between 2.2 and 4.4 million, which I find it would be nearly impossible for him to fall outside of that range, we would get a second round pick in return. And we're going to look at his trade value before we go and look at the free agent. So I'm trying to build up a little bit of suspense here, even for myself. I have no idea who's going to be available, but I hope we can get somebody. I really hope that there's just not a shit ton of defensemen and no forwards, like luxury guy wise, so like upper 80s. But knowing and looking at the trade I just made, watch there be like a couple 90 overall defensemen and a couple like 88s, and then like the best forwards in 83. I would start kicking myself absolutely in the ass if that was the situation. I forgot what I was looking at. We're going to go to defenseman. Check out Alexei Marchenko here. So he looks to have a decent trade value, even as an 83 overall. But we'll just take Anaheim for example. We will check out their second round pick for this season. Looks like the second round pick has a little bit more trade value than Alexei Marchenko, so that'd be a really good pickup for us, a second. It'd probably be tough to find a team that wanted to trade a second and wanted to bring in Marchenko, where the trade values were even. So if we can get a second out of Marchenko, that will be great. So can we get a drum roll, please? Here's our free agent list, and oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why not? Just why the fuck not? Marc-Edouard Vlasic is a free agent this season. Vlasic is a free agent, and we have more than enough cap space to sign him. I'm speechless, man. I'm absolutely speechless. The good news from this list of players is that there are quite a bit of forwards that we could go after. So I really want to try to sign Vlasic if he's here. Picking up a 90 plus defenseman in free agency at that it's just an offer that doesn't really come around very much. Also, holy shit, look at Sam Reinhart, 90 overall, age 22, medium elite. He is an RFA, and I would imagine he would take at least a first, a second, and a third, maybe two firsts, a second, and a third to sign him away from Buffalo. I'm looking at a guy like Kyle Turris here, and then Little and Atkinson and Hornqvist. So we're gonna go back and look at our needs. But first, we're gonna look at some prospects we might sign. Bjorkstrand is also an RFA here that we could go after. Nothing else there. I guess I should sort this by forwards real quick. Are there any prospects? Not really. Nothing in the medium top 9 or better range. Jankowski right there. Not terrible, but nothing really sticking out to me. Are there any high AHL top 6 guys? No. If he was a 77 maybe, but he's only a 73. Nothing in terms of forwards. Any defensemen? I mean, maybe for this guy, 70 overall at age 20. But I'd probably rather prefer a Luke Green here at 74 overall age. Look at his passing category. Holy shit, 86 passing for Luke Green. So he'd probably be a Timothy Liljegren light if we ended up going after him. And then here we got Jacob Cederholm, pretty much in the same category. At 80 plus passing. He's already got 80 defensive awareness. He's only 73 overall. Yeah, so Luke Green was a third round pick the year before we started, and Cederholm was a fourth. Are they both Jets prospects? The Jets losing a couple of medium top 6 potential prospects. We'll just breeze over the high AHL guys really quickly. Nothing there. So we're going to take a look at defensemen. I might sign both Luke Green and Jacob Cederholm and go after Marc-Edouard Vlasic. So if we get Vlasic and we don't get a whole lot of growth from either McAvoy or Carlo, I might just make Brodin Vlasic our 1-2, our first pairing combination. So not really anything fantastic in terms of goalie prospects. Just make sure there's no high AHL guys. Nothing here. Yeah, so pretty bad year for prospects in free agency overall. That's okay. So if we wanted to sign a backup goalie, Hudobin's asking for 200,000 more than he was. Eddie Locke, one of the two. He's asking for 1.3. But Bennington here, as an 80 overall, only 24 years old. He is a UFA. Low backup potential, so he might grow 1 or 2 overall points. But so that's a risk I would be willing to take if we don't end up getting any growth from our guys. Actually, I might as well just go ahead and pick him up now. And then the better of our prospect trio, including Bennington, the best of the three will get backup duties in the NHL. So, this is potentially a huge free agency for us here. We've got a couple of big fish that we might want to go after. But I really wish that I hadn't traded for Brodeen. I wish I would have traded for something else, probably a top-notch young forward. But there's nothing we can do about it now. We can only move forward from here. Brodeen can be our young defenseman of the future, along with McAvoy, Carlo, Shabbat, Liljegren, and Krug to a lesser extent in the young category. I mean, he is like 27, 28, but still 27. So, looking at our forwards. So, we're looking at a top line of, once again, probably Bergeron, Marchand, and Pastrnak. Hopefully he grows a couple overall points this offseason. That's going to be our top line. Again, do we have anybody in the system? Yeah, okay, so we have quite a few guys down here in the system that are NHL ready. Our second line's probably looking to be Krejci as the center, and then Ho-Sang as the right wing. So second line, left wing might be something we could look at. But Zacha, Connor, and Rantanen might... Any of those three could jump this year to like 85, 86, and then I could throw them on the second line and be just fine. So I'm thinking maybe that third line right wing is a better spot to go after. So Tyler Johnson is our third line center. And then one of Zacha, Connor, Rantanen as the left wing. And then so we can sign a third line right winger. And then fourth line we can throw something together between Fisher and Nash, and maybe one of our prospects, JFK, Heinen, DeBrusk, Heinz, any of those guys can step up. Maybe even Zarnik if he gets some good growth. So third line right wing. I guess third line center would be good too, but I think Atkinson was there at third line or at a right wing that we could throw down there on the third line, give him some power play time, so he would be okay with his ice time. And then there was another right winger. I can't remember exactly who it was, but I'm about to find out. Another third line right winger, Patrick Hornqvist. So Atkinson asking for less money. He's also a younger guy, just one extra year on the deal, but that doesn't concern me too much. We could go after Reinhardt, but we don't really have a spot in a lineup that we could throw him. And we would have to, I believe, hunt down one of our picks. Let's see if we can even offer him this. We cannot. So that 8.25, I think that's a first, second, and third. And we don't have either our second or our third. I think it's our third. So we would have to go trade for that before we could even offer Sam Reinhart a contract. And we don't really need someone in that first line right wing role because we have Pastrnak. But I guess we could go after him, leave Pastrnak on the second line, leave Ho-Sang down on the third line. But that doesn't really sound good to me. I mean, I guess we could throw Ho-Sang on his off wing, throw him on the left wing. Just don't know. So we do have 13 million to work with. We could offer Vlasic 7 and Atkinson 6 and call it a day. And if one of them doesn't sign, have a backup plan somewhere. I want to see what, if we have the champion tag or if we have the contender tag. Hopefully we do not have the hopeful tag. We definitely should not have the rebuilder tag. So let's see what we're looking at in terms of that. We are a hopeful. Shit. We are better than that, EA. and that might hurt us here in free agency. These guys are probably going to decline our offers and say they want to win now or they want more money. So we might not get the chance to go after Vlasic. And I kind of don't want to risk it. I kind of want to secure that third line right winger before I worry about a luxury defenseman. I mean, we could go for like Jack Johnson down here. If his player card ever pulls up. He's decent all around. Pretty average stats all around, but Vlasic is the huge guy. So it's either offer Vlasic 7 and Atkinson 6 or close to that. Shit, man, I don't know what to do. We might try to trade Tyler Johnson. Do we want to try that? We wouldn't have a third line center then. We would not have a third line center. Then we could try to sign Turris or Little. I just don't know, dude. I just don't know. We might try to trade Tyler Johnson for a third line right winger. This video is going to be so long, and I apologize, guys. It's just been a while since I've done this series, and I wanted to try to fit in as much as possible into this video. And you can't really go through and script what you're going to do when you're doing the draft and free agency, because each time, each simulation or each time you go through, it's going to be different. The only thing I could potentially script was a pre-draft trade, and I did not do that. So I apologize for the length of this video. Tyler Johnson, where are you? You're way down here. Holy shit, that trade value is insanely low. My goodness. Alright, whatever. We're going to try to trade him for a third line right winger. So then we wouldn't need to try to pick up Cam Atkinson. We could go after a center, a Turris, or a Little that were there, or look even lower maybe. But right here, Carolina has a couple guys that we might look at in Elias Lindholm and Victor Arvidsson. Yeah, let's just take a look at those guys. Look at their contracts. So we'd be saving about $3 million if these trades went straight through for either one of these guys. So that could help us in signing Vlasic. As I need to cough. 1 second. I had to take my headset off and hold it at arm's length there. I'm going to take a sip of water too, so that hopefully that cough does not happen again. So comparing Lindholm and Arvidsson, so Arvidsson has a little bit better offensive awareness. Their shooting category is probably about even. Lindholm gets the plus in the puck skills because he has 3 better puck control. And Arvidsson's better in terms of stick checking and shot blocking. But Lindholm gets one better point in defensive awareness, and he can also take some face-offs. So let's see how they simmed these last couple of seasons. Arvidsson 44 and then 66 points. That looks pretty good to me. And then Lindholm 41 and then 61. So that's not helping us any there. If anything, we're probably going to go for Lindholm because Arvidsson has the lower potential, and he's also older. And Lindholm only has just a little bit more trade value. Now I could go through each NHL team and try to find a better fit in terms of a trade, but I kind of want to get this out of the way. Well, we will do our due diligence. This video is already long enough. I might as well make it just a little bit longer, just to make sure. So no one there on Calgary that we would consider Pro League's old and a little bit lower than what we're targeting. Check out the Blackhawks. Probably not going to be able to get away with the cap situation here. No, not a chance. Whoa, who was that right winger? Is that Kane? I don't know why that confused me. Yeah, Kane. I don't know why that confused me. I thought I saw something different than Kane, and for some reason I was thinking Kane was not right winger. Excuse me for that. Let's look at the Colorado Avalanche, as they have Grigorenko at 87. His trade value is a little bit too high. We'd have to give up Tyler Johnson plus in order to get him. The Red Wings, what are they looking like? Nyquist, not terrible. 87 overall, a little bit higher trade value, and we'll see how he performed.
So he simulated 85 points. He had 85 points in the first season of the sim, 50 points last season. So, Jesus Christ, he's got high 90 or high 80s offensive stats. 85 defensive awareness is not bad. Who the hell was he on a line with? Was he on a line with Larkin that first season? Larkin only put up 41, so probably not Larkin. Man, I don't know how he could score that many points. Probably Zetterberg. And they might have traded for somebody that retired. So, Jesus. Wow, Nyquist. So, he probably rode on the coattails of Zetterberg and somebody else. But still, those are insane numbers to put up in any kind of simulation. Nothing there. Probably just going to go back to Carolina after we look at the Panthers. Nothing there. So, actually, I'll just see if any team can take Tyler Johnson without sending any cap back. And the Devils can. So if we could trade Tyler Johnson to the Devils for like prospects and picks, that would free up so much cap room that we could use to sign another center and Vlasic and Atkinson. Yeah, I already forgot who we were looking for. So they have any prospects here? They got some Samorikov and they got Bastion. Not bad options, but we're still trying to win now. So I'd like to guarantee us an NHL ready piece in return. And the Hurricanes have just that in Elias Lindholm. Okay, so we're going to try to get Elias Lindholm from the Canes, and we could honestly just get back picks or maybe Rasmussen looking at the salary cap. But like I said, I do want that NHL ready guy. I doubt they have anybody on a rookie deal that could go through. Pesci's pretty low. A pretty low cap hit for him. So Tyler Johnson does have the higher trade value than Elias Lindholm, so we're going to try to get some picks in return and maybe even look at a prospect if the picks do not work. So a second round pick from the Hurricanes and Elias Lindholm. The value you have on the table is too far off. So let's look at some of their prospects that they have. See if anything intrigues me. Needs to be lower than that second round pick, so maybe one of Bean or Fleury? I doubt that would go through, though. I doubt that would go through, but that would be insane. I'm gonna try to get one of Bean or Fleury. Looking at their stats, Fleury is 1 year older, 3 overall points higher, much better defensively, and similar offensively as of right now to Jake Bean. How do they do in the AHL? 24 points in 76 games and a plus 13. And Jake Bean has not played, so he's been in the CHL more than likely. Fuck it. We'll throw Fleury in on this deal. So we're going to have to send something back to get that, probably. We'll try this anyways. Value is not where it needs to be at all. What do you want back then, Carolina? What do you want back? We're not trading you Vladar. Frank Vetrano. Can we trade away Frank Vetrano now? We did re-sign him. He does have 1 year on his contract. Is that enough? I doubt that's enough. It's too far off. So let's try to throw in maybe like a 4th and a 5th or something like that. Maybe bleed? No. We'll give them picks. We will give them picks. Throw them a 5th round pick. See if that goes through. Nope, isn't sufficient at all, so we're going to have to throw in... fuck it, we'll trade him Vitti. Vitti, you were good for us. Not really, didn't play a single game for us, but... Do we have enough defensive prospect depth? Yeah, okay. So we'll try to trade away Vitti. And we'll see if we can hold on to Vetrano, first of all. Okay, so now we're going to have to add in Vetrano. I am being as cheap as possible here. Just trying to get the best deal for us. I had zero intentions of making a trade like this coming into... So we need just a touch. Okay, I had zero intentions of making a trade like this coming into this video.
but it just makes all the sense in the world trying to dump off a little bit of cap and trying to get back an NHL guy. Just a touch still. We'll make that a 6th. Make that a 6th. I'm fine with trading as many 6th and 7th as possible. Jesus, as Carolina's making this as hard as possible. They do not want to give this up. I am getting tired. Jesus. Alright, make this 7th a 5th. It is 2 a.m. in the morning in this video. I've been recording it for over an hour. You've been listening to it for over an hour. Oh my lord. Let's try to give them a... You know what? Yeah, I don't even know. I already tried that, didn't I? 5th and 7th. We'll just make it a 5th and a 6th. As it's freezing up on me. There we go. See, that's a bug EA needs to fix, is when you're trying to go through and make these trades and you're tinkering with it just a little bit. I already tried that. Okay. And then you go and add something in here. So we'll make that 6th. We'll just try to give them a 4th instead. It won't let you go down, and it did this time. So as I'm explaining that, okay, trade accepted. So I was gonna say sometimes it won't let you go down and hit the proposed trade button. It'll like freeze up. You just have to go back between the sides, just like left, right a couple times, and you can go down to proposed trade, and it'll work. So trade accepted. We sent away Tyler Johnson and Frank Vetrano, along with Vitti and a 4th, and we got back Elias Lindholm, who we look to slot into our 3rd line right wing, and Hayden Fleury. So now we are no longer going after Cam Atkinson or the other right winger I keep forgetting, but we are going after either Turris or Little. And the purpose of that trade was we saved $3 million in cap space, and we got to put, so we have $16.5 million to offer just a couple of these guys. So Hornqvist, yeah, keep forgetting him because $7 million for an 87 overall forward is not going to get it done for us. So who is in the running for Vlasic? San Jose. What? I'm not sure about that. Maybe they don't have the cap to offer him. Not sure. But then Turris and Little are both 0 teams interested. So we might actually throw Krejci down to our 3rd line center since he's old and he's probably be regressing soon. So either of these guys look great for us. The thing is, they both have pretty much similar offensive stats. And then defensive stats, you know, Turris has 1 extra defensive awareness. Little has 1 better face-off and 3 better shot blocking. The difference here, probably, in their overall, is that Turris has that 5-star skating, and Little just has a little bit better physical category. Turris also has better poise and discipline. I literally have no idea if poise matters in the simulations. So let's look at how they simmed these past couple seasons. 62 and 58 for Turris. Pretty good. And then Little, 51 and 39. So Turris is the much better guy. And if we get him, we'll probably have to put him on the 2nd line with Krejci as our 3rd line center. Krejci would obviously have to make up. Would have to make up for that. Probably killing penalties and playing on the power play. But we're gonna go after Vlasic first, and we're gonna offer him. Jeez, he wants a lot of money. If you want to try to give him a short contract, 3 years, $7.25 million. Hopefully that's enough to get it done for the neckbeard. We will see. And then Turris, who wants a much longer contract than Little, but less in terms of dollar amount. So, do we want to make that 7 years? That would put him at 35. I don't think we want to make it 7 years. We'll keep it at 6, at 6.3 with no other suitors. I think that even if he declines us, he will not be signing with anyone else just quite yet. And I forgot to go look at our prospects. This free agency has been a mess for me. It's been an absolute mess. It's taken forever, and I'm all over the place, and I'm forgetting stuff, but that's what you get when you watch my videos. Just long, nonsense rambling. Probably need to improve on that kind of stuff. So we're just going to offer these guys $650,000, the minimum dollar amount, maximum length, 2-way. Obviously, we're not going to give these guys 1-way contracts. Are you kidding me? Does he really want 0.7? No, he wants 0.65. Of Quit telling me he wants 0.7 game. We're gonna offer those guys the minimum amount. And the thing when you can sign these prospects is that you can just crank it up to give them the max contract. And they will sign with you every single time. We want to make it a little bit more challenging. We'll give them the minimum. So if they want to sign somewhere else, they can feel free to do so. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. This could go one of two ways. We could both Vlasic and Turris could sign with us, and we just get the best possible case scenario, get the guys we want, and improve our roster to win this season. Or both of them could reject us and sign elsewhere. We would be stuck with $16 million in cap, looking at second-rate free agents to sign. So Bennington, I forgot we even gave him an offer. Luke Green rejected, went to the Blues, so there we go. Just because I offered them the minimum, gave him an option to go elsewhere. And Cedarholm also went to the Blues. So the Blues making moves in terms of prospects. Got neither of those guys, so that's okay. I just want to make sure we have the couple of contract spots to offer. For Vlasic and Turris, it would be an absolute disaster if they wanted to sign with us and then they're like, oh, you don't have room for us on your roster. Had that happen to me before, it's not fun. So we had 12 contract spaces to work with, as I am just winding down now. Alright, here's the big day, boys. Here is the big day. What's going to happen? Turris is a part of the Boston Bruins, and Vlasic wants more money. He wants to win now. He doesn't think this team has what it takes to do so. More money could change his mind. So Kyle Turris, welcome to the Boston Bruins. Welcome to the second line. And probably top power play time. We'll have to see about that. Vlasic has no suitors as of right now. Alright, so 7.25 was not enough to get it done for Vlasic. We could try to sign him for like 1 year, $10 million. But then I would not have much flexibility this year if things went bad to make moves to try to get roster upgrades. So we'll keep him in that 3-year range. Actually, I'm gonna look in. No. 3 years is fine. 3 years is fine. We're gonna crank that up to 7.35. Fuck it. We're gonna straight to 7.5. 7.5. If 7.5 is not enough, we are probably going to say fuck it and move on. So let's find out. Is it going to take 1 day or is it going to take another 5 days? Oh man, so with this 5-day thing, the other free agents are going to have chances to go elsewhere while we're trying to wait on Vlasic. Vlasic, Jesus, man. Alright, we got Mark-Edouard Vlasic. Alright. So we traded. Okay, so to recap this offseason, as I think we are done. I'm actually going to wait a second. So Reinhardt, if he's still there. No. There's no way I can make the cap room for Reinhardt. I'd have to go in and trade for my 3rd round pick. Probably trade away quite a bit of cap to get the pick. To get the pick in the first place. And then, yeah. So there's probably no way that's going to happen. We could look at sending an RFA offer to like Bjorkstrand here. But look at his offensive awareness. My God, 89. Did he play in the NHL last season? 33 points, probably in the 4th line. No, I'm done free agency. I'm done with free agency. We cut our blockbuster moves. Our team looks so much different. We should be able to compete this season. I'm sorry for such a long video, but that's just how it turned out. As we came into free agency with 99 to 90 ratings across the board, and we are leaving free agency with a 92, 93, and 90. I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. So to recap our off-season moves, we traded away our first 2 picks in the 2018 draft, along with David Backes. And in return, we got Jonas Brodin, a high 80 overall defenseman. With he's only 24, got a couple years left to grow, low elite potential, so he might not grow anymore, but still. 3 more years on his contract at only $4 million, so a really friendly contract for us. So after that trade, we saw the free agents out there, and unfortunately we were burned by there being a top left-handed defenseman in free agency after we had just traded for one. And so yeah, and so the next move we made, we traded away Tyler Johnson alongside guys like Vetrano and our guy Vidi. So no one's going after Marchenko. We might just trade him as soon as the new season comes around. So we got Vidi and Vetrano were on their way out, as well as a lower round pick. And in return, we got Elias Lindholm to be our third line right winger, as well as a low elite defensive prospect in Hayden Fleury. So we added to our defensive prospect pool, which we might have to trade away from in the near future, just because we have we got a solid top six as of now, and we have quite a few prospects in behind that. So we might look to trade away those guys and upgrade them for more NHL ready guys. But in addition to those two trades, we also signed Marc-Edouard Vlasic to a 3-year deal, and we signed Kyle Turris to a 6-year deal. So our center core is looking absolutely insane with Bergeron, Turris, and Krejci, and our top defensive pairing is looking insane as well. So I'm going to look at our rosters, look at our roster, and see if we got any guys that have jumped in overalls. All right, we're going to look at the forwards first. We got Bergeron as a 90, Turris, Krejci, Marchand as 88s. So Krejci didn't see any regression thus far. He is still, what age is he? He's 32, so he's got a couple more years before regression kicks in, but he'll probably be our third line center. And Bergeron with the second line center role, we might make him our second line center with Turris as our first line center, but that would be treason. That would be absolute treason. Bergeron has to be our first line center. I don't care what you say. So we got Lindholm as an 86. He did not jump any, but that's okay. Still probably going to be our third line right winger. Pastrnak as an 85 is unfortunate. He didn't jump at all. So actually, we might see him as our second or third line center, since Lindholm is better than him. Probably going to depend on their locker room chemistry, as you can see here. Like, he wants to play with Krejci, Rask, and Nash, so that might be a good reason to throw him on the third line, because he likes playing with Krejci. And then this guy, Lindholm, doesn't have any locker room chemistry yet because he just joined the team. And then Nash and Fisher. So Fisher regressed one. Still a $3 million contract. We might look to move him. Might not. And all these guys are going to get moved down. Here's the moment of truth, boys. How did our prospects grow? Zaka and Ho-Sang are up to 85s. So that's good news. They're definitely coming up. Ho-Sang can be... Zaka can be that second line left winger, because we don't have one of those yet. He can be our second line left winger behind Marchand. And I'm going to have to figure out what to do with Lindholm, Pastrnak, and Ho-Sang. How to order those guys. Ho-Sang still has that third scoring line role, so he might be the best option for our third line. We also got Rantanen and Kyle Connor are on their way up to the NHL as 82. So they didn't grow any in the offseason, but that's okay. They can still play for us in the NHL. So JFK jumped up to an 80. DeBrusk up to a 79. We'll leave them and Heinen as our top line in the AHL. Heinz up to a 78. Gabrielle and Senishin up to 75. So now we're going to take a look defensively. This is probably more pivotal to our success than our offensive jumps, because we do not want to be stuck with like an 83 on our second pairing alongside Torrey Krug. We want McAvoy to be like an 86 or something. So let's find out, and they are not on this list. Very anticlimactic there. We will see. Wow, I actually saw a pretty good jump from O'Gara. He's up to an 82. Grizz looking more up to 81s. And Arneson 79. And Krug jumped up one to an 86, probably morale based. Yeah, so those two big signings there in the offseason helped out Torrey Krug's morale. So we're going to send down these three guys, as well as probably Grizzlick. Yeah, and O'Gara might make the squad this year. So in the system, looking at Carlo and McAvoy. They did not jump at all. Shit. Well, Carlo jumped one, I believe. So he's up to an 84. But overall, that's pretty underwhelming. Pretty underwhelming there. But they're still pretty young, so there's still opportunity. So probably going to pair Carlo with Krug and then McAvoy and O'Gara as our third pairing. Alright, well. So it's a good thing we signed Vlasic. Otherwise, we'd be stuck with Carlo as an 84 on our top pairing. We're going to have to throw either Vlasic or Brodin on their offhand. But that's okay. Shabbat up to a 79. Fleury up to an 81, so he jumped one. Liljegren's still only a 74. So Jaros and Johansson are probably going to be on the way out. I might look to trade them for some picks. Goaltending. Yes, it's a good thing we signed Bennington because Russo and Vladar are both 77s. So I'm going to make a couple of quick trades here before this video. Before I wrap it up, we're going to trade away Jaros and Johansson, as well as maybe trying to trade away Mike Fisher, and then calling up JFK to play on the fourth line. So we're just going to throw best lines in now. So overall, a pretty exciting video. We made some gigantic moves for our team. Overall, I guess sort of the final tally was we lost an 86, we lost an 86 center and an 88 center, as well as a first and a second round pick. But we gained an 88 overall defenseman, a 91 overall defenseman, an 88 overall center, and an 86 overall right winger. So overall, really good moves. I believe we did quite a good job in replacing Zdeno Chara and Daniel Sedin from retirement. We probably even upgraded on those guys. What was I going to do? Okay, I was going to make those trades. I should have done that while I was talking. We're going to see if anyone wants to take away Mike Fisher. They probably don't, but we'll take a peek anyways. We'll take a peek anyways, because why not? So look at Vlasic's trade value. Turris' trade value down here, and Brodin. His trade value went down from the time that we traded for him, but that's okay because we probably will not be trading Brodin anytime soon with his fucking fantastic contract. $4 million for 3 more years for a top 2 defenseman. Pretty good. We're gonna trade away Johansson and Jaros and Mike Fisher for anything we can get. Anything we can get. I doubt anybody wants all 3 of these guys. So we're probably going to look at the contract spaces. Yeah, nobody wants all 3 of them. It's probably going to be really tough to find a team that has 3 contract spaces and the salary cap to take on Mike Fisher. Probably going to be tough. I might have to make 2 separate trades for these guys. Yes, we'll start out with Johansson and Jaros. We're going to look for somebody with like a rebuilder tag that has probably more than 3 contract spaces. We'll just check on Arizona here. See if they have, see if they can do this deal. They cannot, okay. Whatever, they're hopeful. So, see if we can get Columbus's 4th for Jaros and Johansson. Yep, they're gone. And they made out like gangbusters, in quotes. I doubt that. You probably got 2 defensive prospects that will never make the NHL. So, congrats. Gangbusters, sure. Alright, Mike Fisher. Maybe a contender wants him. A contender might want him for a depth guy with leadership ability. Dallas. Alright, see if we can trade him to Dallas. He can be their 8th best center. Whatever. See if we can get a 4th round pick. You know what? We'll just try to get a 6th because Mike Fisher is... Yeah, they don't have the contract space. They do not have the contract space. We might have to retain half of Fisher's salary. Arizona? I just traded 2 guys to you. Why didn't I trade all 3? No idea. Oh well. So we're looking for a team that has like $1 million over the cap, I guess. Something like that. Sorry for this video, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. We're just going to hold on to him. Whatever. We'll make him our 4th line center. And check out the free agents that are still remaining. I really apologize. I'm looking at every single menu right now. I don't know why. I just want to go to sleep. So Reinhardt's still there. And his asking price has dropped down to $7.6 million. Still nowhere near anything we can afford. Hinostroza, though. Hinostroza, does 1.3 require a draft pick? Does it? No picks required for Hinostroza. You know what? Fuck it. We'll throw him 1.3 million. Be a good pickup. Be a good pickup for us for basically free. Marchenko. Jesus Christ. We can sign Marchenko if we want. We have the cap space, but I just threw that money away. Just threw that money away on Hinostroza. I'm sorry. I am deeply sorry. This is the first time I've tried to throw both a draft and a free agency into one video without scripting most of it. And actually, Marchenko would be a good keep for us if we could put him on the 3rd line. Jeez. Would be a good guy to keep. My lord, man. My lord. I don't know. Just don't know. We'll see what he goes for on the league. So, the Ducks want him. The Ducks want him. We'll try to get a 2nd round pick out of him. Maybe. See what we can do. 2nd and a 3rd. Why not? Shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon, land among stars. That's what they say, apparently. You know what? We'll just give them to Arizona. Arizona does not want to trade their picks. You know what? Fuck it. Just fuck it. I'm sick of this video. I'm willing to give away... Oh my god. I'm willing to give away Marchenko. Just to get out of this video. Trying to find a good spot for him. Here we go. New York Islanders for a 2nd. What? Not sufficient at all. You know what? You know what? You know what? Value on table is too far off. See if we can trade any unsigned guys. See if we have any of those available. Lamb, we want to keep Lamb. Might be a good prospect goalie for us. Because Binnington is just probably filling in a gap for a year or 2. Hartikainen. We just drafted Hartikainen, and that was accepted. So we got rid of Marchenko for a 2nd round pick. And that is it for this video, boys. I am sorry for how long it took. We made big moves, though. We made big moves. At least it was an action-packed video. At least we got stuff done. Hinostroza accepted. You have to wait to see what the Blackhawks say. Yeah, you just said that, bud. At least we got things done. We got Hinostroza too, so let's figure out what to do with him in the next video. We made some big moves, boys. Blockbuster moves. Improved this team quite a bit. We should be competing for the Stanley Cup this season. We don't have many holes in our roster. Maybe backup goaltending might be the biggest hole that we have, but that's not too concerning. If there was one position that I would pick to be a concern, to be backup goaltending, especially behind Tuukka Rask. I just want to see if the game still lists us as hopefuls. But as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I promise to never have a video this long that isn't a fantasy draft. We are listed as a champion status, so we went from hopeful to a champion. So that's how eventful our offseason was. Promise to never have a video this long unless it is a fantasy draft. I'm sure you guys are really bored if you're still here. You're really bored with watching this. And trust me, I'm really bored making this. So if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. If you did not enjoy, please like and subscribe. Leave comments down below. Actually, if you guys enjoy videos of this length, let me know. I might look to do them in the future if you enjoy it. Probably will not be doing it at 2:30 in the morning, but so yeah. Leave a comment, leave some feedback, and tune in next time to see what our lines look like. And we'll hopefully try to get to the trade deadline in the next video, and it will be a shorter video, probably about a third of this length. Alright guys, tune in next time as the champion status Boston Bruins look to start year 3.